My name is Leah McInnis. I'm an artist living in Victoria, and this is my exhibition at arc.hive Artist Run Center, and it's called In a Book. So I came up with the concept for this show about a year ago because my grandmother reads romance novels, and it's always kind of been a joke in our family, and I wanted to take it a step further and be critical of it through the lens of contemporary art. So I created this exhibition that consists of about 5 different pieces, sculptural and printed matter found objects, as my way of sort of exploring what that means to be, well, inside a book, or what role does these sort of low culture pulp romance novels that are kind of like these throwaway, not considered like a high intellectual feat. What role do these play in culture, and on a personal level, what role do these books play for an individual? So I bought a stack from Value Village of these romance novels, and I've been reading them, and I learned a few things. I learned that they are very formulaic, that they all have happy endings, that it's kind of like there are like poetic moments in the writing, but for the most part it's you know what you get, and the readers as well, the people who have like go through a book a day or so with these, they're very astute. They know what they're getting into, and they can smell, if it's I'll move on from there. So I'll start talking about this sculpture. This is found objects, mid-century modern teak furniture that actually belonged to my grandmother's sister. She had a house on Main Island, and my family had to help sort of downsize, get rid of some things. So there's that material connection of these objects with my family, but also why I chose to include them in here is because I wanted to reference a furniture of like sort of an individual space, like a very intimate space, because the heater turned off. Because reading is a very intimate space, so I wanted to suggest that through some furniture, through a sculptural object in the room. And I made a custom lampshade, and as well as a seat cushion by isolating. This is the logo for the Harlequin romance, so it's the little Harlequin guy. And then I consider this a piece too. I took on all of the covers, they have this like very ornate sort of curlicue, like very, I don't know, it has a certain vibe. It sort of is like Art Nouveau, Art Deco, and I felt like it played off the mid-century furniture as well. I wanted something in the window to sort of separate it, but also to make this intimate space, to reference that intimate space of reading, of being like lost inside a book, of being like kind of held in that safety of the novel. I can move on to these pieces. So these are 3 prints. They're printed on, they're engineering prints. And it's kind of a play on that materiality of the engineering prints, and these are kind of like mock architectural designs. So each one I built in SketchUp, and they all have titles, and the titles reference the pages of the book. I just built these houses like intuitively in SketchUp, just like very quickly, like not overthinking it, like thinking about making an interesting image, but also like working sculpturally with these objects, and then also a lot of like tongue-in-cheek play with architectural styles, combining like these Roman columns with like an A-frame, really just being kind of playful, but also really trying to evoke that sense of decadence and like opulence that is so often in these romance novels, because they are like escapism, and there's a lot of money in them, a lot of wealth. So I wanted to kind of play on that by creating these like extravagant sort of estates. Yeah, so I've and then they're all wrapped with pages from books that I scanned. Right behind me here is a mobile. I've really enjoyed being in the gallery and hearing different people's perceptions of this piece and like what it evokes for them. And there was a woman who was just in here earlier today, and she was talking about how for her it's like uplifting and sort of has this like floating up feeling for her, that she associates with the romance novels as being kind of these uplifting, escapist stories. This was like a big sort of like material play for me. I had always wanted to make a mobile, and it's something a few like artist friends and I have been joking about, talking about, and then so with the height of arc.hive, and I knew this was like this is a good opportunity to play with it. Some interesting correlations happened with like these wrapped sticks and then becoming like a direct reference to like the architectures in here. And I like this sort of breaking up the space, and also like, yeah, playful of sort of having the story come around you and not having like a direct access to the story either. It was like it was a conscious decision I made not to include any actual books in the exhibition. Like I played around with the idea of having stacks of them somewhere, like actually building like a little house out of them, but I felt like that would have been like too easy. I wanted to have more levels of separation. So you can read a book. If you like move around, you can have bits and pieces, and it becomes more poetic. It breaks it up. And then here on this wall, yeah, very, very simple, but I feel like it is very effective in the space, having these mirrors. So these are two covers of books that I have that were part of my research, and I scanned them. And similar to the architectures, these are engineering prints. And then I cut out the central image and put these large mirrors behind it. And there's many kind of metaphors I think that can come through that. Like putting yourself in the book, and like a lot of people have joked that, like, I don't know, and standing in it now, like, you know, the book is about you, and I think that really happens when you're reading these. Like, the books end up becoming about you. You put yourself in them, so quite literally putting yourself in it. Also, within the space, having these mirrors allows the drawings on the window to come through. It makes it bigger. I think I might include mirrors in like all of my installations going forward. It's a lot of fun. I think that's kind of it. There are these two pieces here. They're kind of like the outliers of the show. They were just the cutouts from these mirror pieces, so like they were kind of like garbage, but they're so kind of like sumptuous. Like the quality of the print, like the engineering print, it's not like the best quality, but like having these sort of half-tone dots of the old illustration come through, the old printing. So I put them on the wall, and then the night before the exhibition opened, I had my boyfriend come and tag them He used to be a graffiti writer, like way back in the day in Vancouver, and I wanted to deface them in some way, but then I think there's also something about like having somebody tag them. It's like, again, putting your own self like onto the story. So this one just has the one tag. It's quite minimal, and then this one really, he really went to town on it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching and listening.